listening to the Positive Professional Podcast with your host, me, Tracy Yvonne. This podcast is a weekly conversation about all things mental health, self-care, and wellness. And there'll be sprinkles of positivity, mindfulness, and guided meditations. Have you heard of Verbal? Verbal is an audio streaming destination for all types of audio creators like myself, and anyone that loves listening to audio. Verbal supports audio creators through their station model and helps listeners connect to meaningful content to listen to. And a few other things that makes Verbal special is the unique creator tools such as snippets and playlists, better discovery, streaming, it's free, and users can start monetizing right away by joining the Ambassador program or with only 1,000 station listens a month. I'm proud to say that I'm a Verbal Ambassador, a chosen thought leader in the category of mental health. And you can learn more as well as check out my podcast station and my curated mental health playlist at www.verbal.com. That's www.verbal.com. Today is a great day, and there are a couple of reasons why. But the first one is that today starts season 3 of this podcast. So another reason why this day is so special to me is because it's January 15th. And on this day, Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated was founded on the campus of Howard University in Washington, D.C. in 1908. I am a very proud member of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated, and I want to take this time to wish all of my beautiful, intelligent, and oh so dope sorority sisters a very happy Founders Day. So let's get into today's topic. And it's really about taking stock of your life so you can start the year off on the right foot. And too often we charge in when it would be better to just assess where we're at first. And it can be painful to look back and see our mistakes and shortcomings. And yet it's the best way to determine what we need to do to make significant changes in our lives. Now, before you prepare to start the new year with loads of resolutions and goals, take some time to reassess your life. Ever wish you had more time for what's generally important to you? Now's the time to make that change. And the first step is by looking at all of the things that you're taking on that's no longer feeling important to you. Consider each committee, sponsorship, extended family, and friend obligations that no longer feel fun. If they feel like a burden, then it's time to unload them. This may feel challenging. After all, no one wants to let others down, but this is your life, and it's time to choose you instead of others' wants. Now, if you wish you had more money, but can't or don't want to work more to get it, take a careful look at your finances. Quite often, little wants turns into needs. Scan through last year's bank statements and make note of any recurring payments. Now, you may wince when you see how much you spend on unnecessary things throughout the year. When having occasional treats for you and your family is okay, but if shopping therapy has become a burden, now's the time to fix it. Make a list of all the ways that you can cut back without feeling deprived. For example, could you eat out 2 nights a week instead of 4? Or is it essential that you shop for clothes every month? And how much could you save if you took your lunch to work 3 days a week instead of getting takeout? And do you find it fun to have a bazillion TV channels? These are just a few ways that you can trim expenses so you can save for things that matter to you instead. And let's talk about dreams and goals. Many people cite not enough time or not enough money as the reason why they stay in dead-end jobs and don't pursue their passions or make real changes in their lives. So what do you want really? To go back to school and start a new career? Or turn your side hustle or hobby into a business? Or maybe purchase and cook homemade or wholesome foods that support your health and wellness? By choosing to make any of these changes in your life, you've now opened up a whole new world for yourself. Now, when you're thinking about changes that can transform your year and your life, sometimes making changes that you want to see in your life feel nearly impossible. It takes a willingness to step aside from your comfort zone to make significant changes that will transform your world. And if you want to start your year off right, some subtle changes can be the beginning of a happier and healthier life. So the first one is to listen to your intuition. And we like to think that life is linear and rational. But more often than not, we make blind decisions based on what we know at the time. But what if you start following your intuition more often than your brain? Often the right choice is the one that we don't fully understand at the time. And your intuition can lead you down a path you least expect, but that can change your life in exciting ways. So worry less about connecting the dots and spend more time riding the waves. Next is to understand your why. You want to make changes, but find year after year you have yet to make that happen. One reason for this is because you don't understand why you want to make the change, or you understand it but focus on how hard it will be to make the change. Look at the big goal you have and ask yourself why you want it. Will it free up time, make you healthier, or make retirement more comfortable? If the answer is yes, you should keep your thoughts on how much better your life will be when you've made the change and then take action. But always start with your why. Now, a lot of times we wait until the time is right to do something meaningful. And for this reason, many of us have regrets later on in life. What do you generally want? And if you can answer that question automatically, it's time to take action. Any action, and it doesn't have to be the right action. But making that first step will lead you to discover the right next steps to take that will lead you to where you want to go. And it's always important to stay short-sighted. So have you ever thought that you'd like to make a significant change in your life, but then you've talked yourself out of it? When we look too far in the future, we can get overwhelmed and end up doing nothing. So ask yourself, what's the first step that will be to make the change? Then the next step, and then the next one. Most successful people didn't know exactly where they would end up. They just knew they wanted to change their lives, and so they did step by step. So don't let the fear of the unknown future steal your happiness today by keeping you paralyzed. Now, in the next segment, I'm going to share some tips on living your best year. Today's episode is brought to you by Ivy Elite Training. Are you looking for low-cost professional development workshops, topics like emotional intelligence, diversity and inclusion, and more? Then visit www.ivyelitetraining.com. That's www.ivyelitetraining.com. Although most of the world see a new year as a time to make massive changes in their lives, it's the daily choices that lead to lasting change. That's why New Year's resolutions are so ineffectual. But this year, you can start and finish strong by making better choices each day. So here are some tips. The first one is to break things down. Whether you want to save for a dream home, start a business, or get healthier, you need to recognize that it's going to take time. Our desire for instant gratification can lead us to give up before we even really get started pursuing our goals. So choose the one big thing you want to have by the end of the year, and then break down the steps you'll need to take to make it happen. And like I said in the first segment, break them down even further. Come up with small tasks that you can complete daily in about 10 to 30 minutes. That will not only help you to see the goal as a journey, and this is so you don't give up too soon, but it also helps to make the goal easier to tackle. Next is to track your time. And look, we are all busy, but many of us use busyness as an excuse for keeping up with the status quo, even when we say we want change. One simple way to find wasted time in your schedule is to track it. Now, for the next 3 days, keep track of what you do all day long. And you can use an app or a spreadsheet or a simple notepad to keep track. You'll start to notice that you spend more time watching TV, playing games, and checking social media than you would have thought. And once you're aware of this wasted time, choose you instead. Use that time to research career programs, enjoy a hobby, or spend time with positive people in your life. Whatever your goal is this year, choosing to spend your time working on it each day will make sure that you end with the year you want to be. And the last that I'm going to share is to redesign your life. Most of us sleepwalk through life more often than we care to admit. And if you want to live a happier, more fulfilling life, take stock of what makes you happy. What brings you joy and makes you feel alive? Now redesign your life to make sure those things are part of it. Look back at your time tracking and also think about what obligations and expectations you can modify or delete entirely so you can live a life full of joy and purpose. So I'm going to end today's episode with this important reminder. Make a conscious decision to choose living life to the fullest every day. Thanks for listening and supporting this podcast. And make sure you're clicking the like and subscribe button. You can also follow me on Twitter and Instagram. Stay safe, be well, and don't forget to be the best version of you.